Well, the NFL season and the fantasy football season is finally almost here. The bad news is that draft season is almost over. I love drafting. Chris, what's your favorite thing about drafting for fantasy?
My favorite thing is when that guy I really, really want that I know is going to smash falls to me and I get to draft him.
What's your least favorite thing about drafting?
When you or somebody from our community who knows who I like has a pick right before me and takes that player.
Sounds like you really, really want certain players. I get you. I feel the same way. We're still drafting. We still got a little bit of time left. And before we finish draft season, here are the players that we know we do not want to leave our drafts without. All right, now obviously you can't get every player that you really want in every draft, but let's break it down and let's talk about maybe each tier, each section of the draft, starting with the first 2 rounds. All right, who's the one guy that you definitely want as much as possible? Start with the Miami Dolphin, but this is your pick.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys I really want. Obviously, it's rounds 1 and 2. There's a ton of guys I really want. But I'll say right now, De'Von Achane is a guy I really want because he's starting to fall in drafts because people are scared of this calf injury. I am not scared of this calf injury at all. Let me tell you why you shouldn't be scared about this calf injury either. Jeff Mueller, who's a PT who tracks football injuries, said he's got 21 incidents of running back calf injuries since 2016. Only 3 of those players missed 3 or more weeks. That was Nick Chubb missed 3 games, Eric Gray missed 4, and Kareem Hunt missed 5. The rest missed 0 to 2 weeks. Remember, he suffered this calf strain 3 weeks out from the season, so there's a good chance he's ready to go week 1. Also, Adam Hutchinson, who also tracks injuries, said he's got 20 incidents of running back calf injuries. First of all, he says very low incidence of re-injury, so you don't have to worry about that. Median 1 week missed, mean 2.5 weeks missed. There's a very good chance De'Von Achane is totally fine, ready to go for week 1 of the fantasy season, and he's fallen to the end of second round of drafts because people are terrified of this calf injury. He had 72 catches last year with Tua missing 6 games. In those games with Tua, he averaged over 6 receptions per game. This guy can legitimately catch 100 passes if Tua stays healthy for all 17 games. The Miami offensive line is terrible. They know Tua has concussion risk. They're going to continue to ask him just to get the ball out quick. They're going to have design targets for De'Von Achane. In fact, Achane was second among all players in design targets last year, and his former teammate, Jonnu Smith, who's no longer there, was 15th. Achane is going to be a PPR monster in this Miami offense. I think the fact that you can get him in the second round right now is just crazy. Take the injury freak out discount because this injury is not serious at all, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's out there week 1, good to go with no problems at all.
With all the good receiver options, elite options available in rounds 1 and 2, I find myself going back to Nico Collins more and more. I actually don't know why. Sometimes I find myself able to get Nico Collins in round 2, and I think that's actually a tragedy because Nico Collins is an elite receiver, and you finally have bumped him up even over Malik Neighbors, over Puka Nacua, because this guy is a target hog, and I actually think he's going to take another step forward this season. I know you agree with me. Nico Collins already leads in a lot of the major categories that you want to see from an elite receiver. Air yard share, targets per route run, right up there, top 5 among qualified receivers. He's going to get the ball a lot, and I know people think, well, more competition this year, right? They drafted 2 receivers pretty early, second, third round. They brought in Christian Kirk. These receivers are brought in to basically supplement what they've already lost. He had a lot more competition last year with a guy like Stephon Diggs and then Tank Dell, who, remember, everyone was complaining because CJ Stroud's favorite target was Tank Dell when he was on the field. And Christian Kirk, let's face it, he's basically just like Tank Dell. He can be really good in spurts until he inevitably gets injured. Now look, I like Christian Kirk late, but come on. Nico Collins is far and away the number 1 receiver in this offense. He's the one who already has the chemistry with CJ Stroud. This offense is going to pass the ball a fair amount because Joe Mixon is not there, and none of those running backs are cutting it. I'm sorry. They're going to have to pass the ball a lot more than they really want to. Nico Collins is an elite wideout. I feel like people still don't view him that way, but they should. All right, now let's look for rounds 3 through 5. In that territory of the draft, who do you just keep going back to over and over again?
I just keep going back to Calvin Ridley. Now, I will say this about Calvin Ridley and the Titans that I've talked up this whole offseason. It's really unfortunate that week 1 they have to play the Broncos in Denver because they're probably not going to do very well that week, but The rest of the schedule is great here. In fact, Fantasy Pros has Calvin Ridley, their Titans wide receivers, as the easiest strength of schedule this year. And I've talked about it many times how Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward are a perfect match. Cam Ward loves to sling the deep ball. He's good at slinging the deep ball. Last year, Calvin Ridley had a bunch of deep targets, but none of them connected because Will Levis and Mason Rudolph can't throw the deep ball. Over 1,000 unrealized air yards. He's going to reduce that number by 400 air yards this year. He's going to score more touchdowns in this offense. And look, they have some okay rookies that, maybe could do something. I like Chig as a late round tight end. But let's be real, there's no target competition for Calvin Ridley here that really matters. Calvin Ridley is going to get a ton of targets. His targets are going to be more catchable, and especially his deep targets are going to be more catchable. I keep making the comparison to last year's Terry McLaurin with Jaden Daniels. I think that's going to be Calvin Ridley this year, but I think Calvin Ridley might be even better because his target share will be higher and his touchdown potential, I think, will be higher. So yes, week 1, I'm going to say like Calvin Ridley is probably only going to be a flex because it is Surtain and the Broncos. But after that, Calvin Ridley is going to be a full go. I don't need to win week 1 to win my fantasy championship. Give me monster Calvin Ridley the last 16 weeks. I'll be just fine.
Well, there's nothing new and exciting here, but give me the guy who I can just close my eyes and know he's getting me 1,000 yards, probably double-digit touchdowns. It's Mike Evans. Yeah, I am boring, right? Consistent. And yet, not only is Mike Evans the safest pick that you could probably make in this range, he might actually have one of his best seasons ever because, as we've seen just the last 2 years, this offense is clicking on all cylinders. And now all of a sudden, Evans finds himself really with a much bigger load to shoulder because Chris Godwin isn't going to be ready for who knows how long. Definitely not the start of the season. Jalen McMillan out, maybe half the season. Who knows? Maybe even longer. And everyone's excited about Emeka Egbuka. I am too. I get it. He's on the rise. He's going to be a great player. But is he going to be great week 1, week 2, right away? Or is Baker Mayfield probably going to lean on the guy who's been there for years, the guy who's one of the most consistent receivers in the NFL? I mean, let's face it, Evans is going to be a target hog from the jump and all season like he always is. Going to catch a ton of passes. There's nothing exciting about him these days. People just assume, I guess because he's a year older, that he might take a step down. I think statistically, he's going to jump up. All right, now I'm going to talk about like the mid rounds. Let's say rounds 6 through 10. A lot of options here, so tell me how you attack this phase.
This is the part of the draft that makes me feel like I don't have to go elite QB. I don't have to go elite tight end this year because I can get guys like Justin Fields and David Njoku in this range and be more than good at QB and tight end. And look, Justin Fields, I get it. There's a lot of risk here. I'm okay with that risk. I want that potential upside. The upside I get with those elite QBs that run. Now, I'm not saying Justin Fields is going to be as good as Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Daniels, Jalen Hurts. He's not, right? He's going to be way more inconsistent. But he's going to give you that kind of upside on a week-to-week basis because of what he can do with his legs. But I'll also say this. If you're like, I can't draft Justin Fields. He's terrible. He's too risky. Fine. You can get Bo Nix in this range. Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott. These guys will all be solid for your fantasy team, if not great for your fantasy team. This is just like a quarterback gold mine when you get in this range, which is why, again, I don't feel like I have to go elite QB. It's fine to go elite QB, but don't feel like you have to force it when there's so many good QBs in this range. And same with tight end. I love David Njoku. I mean, David Njoku feels like he's undervalued every single year. 3 straight years as a top 8 tight end. Now he's reunited with Joe Flacco, which we know is fantastic for this guy's value. He smashed the last time these guys played together in 2023. He was the tight end 1 over that stretch by over 4 points per game, scoring 16 or more PPR points every game with Joe Flacco down the stretch there. But there's also other tight ends here like TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram. These guys are fine too. Like, I don't feel like I have to chase early round tight end, early round QB when I can get these guys in the later rounds, especially like some of these guys you can get them round 9, round 10 of the draft. Just give me those guys. Let me stack the rest of my roster. I can wait on QB and tight end this year because there's plenty of good ones.
You know, this is the part of the draft where if you go hero RB or zero RB and you're looking for somebody with huge upside in this area, look, it used to be, I would say, just even a couple weeks ago, it was like, I'll take one of those rookies like RJ Harvey or TreVeyon Henderson. But I can't say that anymore because all of a sudden TreVeyon Henderson, because of a preseason kickoff return, you know, a couple of nice runs in the preseason, he's jumped up to like pick 47, and yet here's RJ Harvey sitting here after pick 60 according to consensus ADP. I'll buy the dip, I guess, with the value. I'll take it because he has every bit as much upside. You know what? I actually think he has more, because as much as we don't want to admit it, TreVeyon Henderson is still going to compete with Ramondre Stevenson. He's a veteran. They paid him. It's going to be probably an even split to start the season. Honestly, who is RJ Harvey competing with? It's not going to take very long before he supplants J.K. Dobbins. I know J.K. Dobbins early in the season is going to be the guy. I don't think he was brought there to be the lead back. I think J.K. Dobbins is the placeholder, to be honest. And that's even if he just stays healthy at all this season. So RJ Harvey, it's not going to be long before he takes over this backfield. He has 3 down potential. He's a great receiver, and he's Sean Payton's guy. I mean, he just is his guy. He's going to be his world, his everything. And so I'm going to take him into fantasy wherever I can. And then this is just another chance for me to talk also about a receiver I'm going to over and over again. It's Rome Odunze. We've seen it in the preseason. This Bears offense is able to make big plays down the field. Finally, I mean, we saw Rome Odunze, that 32-yard catch followed up by a touchdown. And I know we don't want to talk too much about preseason stats, as I just mentioned, but this is what we were waiting to see. Caleb Williams actually running the show, right? Able to have that confidence, able to pick up the system. It's going to happen maybe sooner than we even think, and I think Odunze is the guy that you want to target because you can get him several rounds later than DJ Moore. Now look, in the late rounds, you got sleepers, you got flyers, but who's the one that you really just want to tap over and over again?
I keep finding myself drafting Christian Kirk over and over. I know you just kind of poo-pooed on Christian Kirk when you talked about Nico. And look, I love Nico. You know I love Nico, but somebody's got to be the number 2 wide receiver here, and it's going to be Christian Kirk, even though people aren't drafting like it's going to be Christian Kirk, because he goes as the 3rd wide receiver as far as the Houston offense off the board. But all the reports we're hearing, everything we're hearing is that Christian Kirk is the number 2 wide receiver, and it doesn't even sound like Jaden Higgins is the number 3 wide receiver right now. Look, this is an offense that can support 2 wide receivers. Go back to CJ Stroud's rookie year. Yeah, Nico was great that year, but so was Tank Dell. Go back to last year. Yes, Nico was great. I mean, Nico's going to be great. But Stephon Diggs was great last year before his ACL injury. Christian Kirk is going to be in that Stephon Diggs role. Now, I'm not saying Christian Kirk's as good as Stephon Diggs. And yes, Christian Kirk has had trouble staying healthy. But for however many games he is healthy and playing in this offense, I think he's going to be a solid like wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 2 upside. And he's going well outside the top 100 picks. He's a complete afterthought in every fantasy draft. He's the one guy when I'm looking at those late round guys, I see like handcuffs. I see like, you know, maybe those guys who catch a long touchdown once in a while. I see those rookies who could, you know, maybe break out at some point. And then I see Christian Kirk and I say like, why don't I just take the number 2 wide receiver in a good offense that can support 2 wide receivers? And I do.
All right, we're always looking for a late round running back with upside, a guy who we think's in a committee but might actually pull away. Yeah, I know this is not as exciting as Bill, but I'm going to go back to Tank Bigsby in Jacksonville. Yes, he could be this year's Bucky Irving. Yes, this is a Liam Cohen offense that will be run very similar to what we saw in Tampa last year. And just because he's not a rookie doesn't mean he can't be that guy this year. Look how good he was last year. Averaged over 4.5 yards per carry. He was one of the leaders, as I mentioned not too long ago. He and Kenneth Walker, in terms of missed tackles, force, and yards after contact, elite. One of the best, right? We're big on Kenneth Walker. He's going in like round 3 or 4. Tank Bigsby, you know what? He's going in pick 100 plus 120. You can get him in the end of your draft, and this is a guy who legitimately has the upside to be a weekly starter in your lineup. I don't think Travis Etienne is going to all of a sudden have a renaissance season, and I'm not worried about Blake Shelton. I think Tank is the guy, and I'm going to keep pinning my hopes on him. Draft season isn't over yet. You still got some last-minute drafts. You want to hear our favorite picks for this draft season? Check out the playlist.